What if nothing exists except you? Not in a dreamlike, poetic sense, but in a literal, unsettling way. No other minds, no world, no outside at all. This is what's known as solipsism, the philosophical thesis that only your own mind is real and everything else, people, time, even your own body, is just a projection of your individual consciousness. It sounds a bit extreme, maybe even absurd. But once the question is raised, it's not so easy to dismiss. After all, how do you know anything beyond your own experience truly exists? When you see a tree, you don't experience the tree itself. You experience an image, shapes, colors, sensations processed through your nervous system. When you hear a voice, how do you know it isn't just your mind inventing it? When someone says, "I love you," how do you know you didn't create them just to hear those words? The reality is, the world arrives through the senses, filtered, interpreted, constructed in your brain. So where is the world, really? Is it out there or in here? You just don't get to step outside your own awareness to check. There is no vantage point beyond your own consciousness. And that is the trap. Solipsism isn't a belief many people choose to hold. It's a hole you fall into when you ask too many questions about certainty. After all, can you prove that the world continues when you're not looking? That other people have minds like yours? That anything exists apart from the one thing you're experiencing right now? René Descartes asked these same questions. In the 17th century, he set out to doubt everything he could. His senses, the world, even logic itself. In the end, only one truth remained. I think, therefore I am. What he discovered is that the thinking self was the only thing he could not doubt. Everything else might be a mirage, but the one who experiences it cannot be an illusion. Yet, Descartes did not stay put in this place. He chose to believe that a rational God ensured the truth of the external world. Still, the door to solipsism had been opened, and philosophers ever since have struggled to close it. Even today, neuroscience tells us what philosophy already suspected. We never experience reality directly. Our entire world is mediated by the brain. What we call the real world is a model shaped by perception and cognition. And that model exists within us. So, why not doubt everything but the self? But we cannot do this because something in us resists that conclusion. Not just emotionally, but existentially. We feel the presence of other people. We cry when they suffer. We fall in love, not just with abstractions, but with living people who surprise us, challenge us, and change us. If solipsism were true, every human relationship would be nothing more than a monologue. Every embrace would be a desperate hallucination, and every tragedy would be meaningless. That is the horror of solipsism. Not that the world might be false, but the connection might be impossible. That the longing for love, for understanding, for truth might echo endlessly in a void. But there are answers. Some say the very idea of a private consciousness is incoherent. After all, you didn't invent language. You didn't teach yourself the word I. You learnt it in relationship. Your ability to think, to speak, even to believe in solipsism depends on others already being there. The philosopher Martin Buber called this the I-thou relation. The idea that we become real through encounter, not in isolation. That consciousness itself is not an island, but a bridge. Maybe, then, solipsism isn't just a metaphysical worry, but a spiritual warning. It reminds us that consciousness, when cut off, collapses inward, and that the deepest truths may not be found in solitary certainty, but in shared vulnerability. That behind the eyes of the other, there really is a spark just like yours. That the world has weight, not just in your mind, but in itself. In the end, the problem of solipsism may not have a decisive answer, but it does get met with a response. And that response is not to retreat into the self, but to open it. To take the risk of relationship. To act as if others are real. Not because we can prove it, but because we have no other choice. Because unless we admit the existence of others, then the only alternative is eternal silence.